Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals, a team with a more positive draft than that of the Seattle Seahawks, I think. They got Josh Rosen, who to me was my personal third quarterback in the draft. They get him 10th overall, which I think was a lot better value, which we'll get to the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. But
and how much did they fleece the Raiders? The Raiders, they only had to give up a third and a fifth to move up 5 spots in the top of the round. It's crazy.
And they got Josh Rosen, a guy who, if you talk to him, he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
And he's a smart kid. I really like the professionalism he brings. He kind of like character-wise, he's been compared to Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to be a solid, just a good pocket passer. He's ready now. He's probably the most ready quarterback of all of them. I would give that pick individually an A. Then you have second round, Christian Kirk, smaller receiver, 5'10", 200, but they needed to get faster at that position. He's decent overall. We'll see. I think he could grow with Josh Rosen. Those two maybe could form a connection. And obviously that's a big position of need. Larry Fitzgerald can't play forever. The third round, Mason Cole, Michigan, good center, one of the best centers in the draft. I think he probably fell in the draft, to be honest, and they got a good value there. And they needed to improve their offensive line. Later in the draft, they got some other guys at corner, offensive tackle, running back. It is what it is. But those first 3 picks, I thought were all pretty much spot on and probably going to end up being hits in my mind. So that's why I gave the Arizona Cardinals an A-. But UAC.
Yeah, I gave him an A. I actually like the Christian Kirk because they've been looking for some sort of speedy, smaller receiver because I don't think J.J. Nelson's that guy. And, if you look in this system, not a slot, obviously Larry Fitzgerald plays the slot, but you just need someone a little more quicker underneath routes. J.J. Nelson can get open. And then what it was before, it was, I always get them. They had like 7 different Jerron Browns.
John Brown is in Baltimore.
Was the small guy. Was the small one. Jerron was really tall.
They're both small, I think.
Oh, okay. I thought one.
They're both small and skinny. They look like the same player. Jerron Brown went to Seattle. John Brown went to Baltimore.
Okay. Yeah, I just remember them always having like 7 Browns, and they all started with J. Their first names. No, I think it's great with the Josh Rosen pick. Like we said, Josh Rosen actually has potential. I think out of all these teams, I'll give the Cardinals the most chance to make the playoffs this year, in my opinion.
Out of what teams?
Out of let's say out of the Browns, the Jets.
Out of the quarterback team.
Actually, the Bills, obviously, just because they already made the playoffs. But I just think, with David Johnson in this lineup, they actually have, in the draft, they got some depth at the line.
David Johnson gives you a receiver and a running back. So
plus, they brought in Justin Pugh, who was not that great at the end of his Giants, but can play, right?
Good. Yeah.
Andre Smith, they brought in a tackle. And then Larry's last year, I do think they can put Bryce Butler on the outside as well. And I do think Bryce Butler, if given the chance, could be actually a decent player. And if you look at their defense, they only drafted 1 defensive player because if you look at it from top to bottom, it's a pretty nice roster.
It is.
There's a couple of holes there.
They had a lot of injuries last year, too.
Rudy Ford at the free safety.
Don't they have Tavon Branch still, or no? Has he not been signed?
No, he's not. No, not yet. They could be like the Kenny Vaccaro type style, but like Budda Baker looks great. Patrick Pearson, Hassan Reddick, it should be good.
And they had the leading sack leader, Chandler Jones.
Yeah, and their defensive line is not bad. Josh Rosen with these talents. Obviously, tight end might be a weakness. I can't believe Jermaine Gresham's still playing.
What's his name? He was actually decent at the end of the year.
Gresham?
No, he has like 3 different names. What's his name?
Seals Jones.
Yes.
Yeah. So especially with David Johnson, I think Rosen, I hope he plays right away and not Sammy Sleeves.
I doubt it. I think this is a good situation for Josh Rosen because he probably won't have to play the first year because Sam Bradford, he's paying $20 million. If Sam Bradford does not play and is paid $20 million, that is the worst signing. And then there's Glennon too that they also signed, right?
Yeah.
And you have both those players that they signed for way too much money, but Bradford will probably get hurt, just putting that out there. So Rosen and Glennon will fight it out probably for the starting job around week 9.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, like, looking at this roster and then just looking at the Seattle roster, this is a much better roster.
Yeah, this is a better roster than Seattle.
It's all just right. Like they got to stay healthy. So I'm giving them an A because I do like the Christian. I think I like the Christian Kirk move a bit more than you do. I think he has the potential to be a solid receiver in this league. So I think they kind of hit, like you said, first 3 picks. They did a great job, and for me, that's an A. Because looking at their defense, they didn't really need to. I think maybe they could have used a little more help on the interior of the defensive line.
And a corner, I think. But
yeah, another corner. Because, like, Brandon Williams is so-so. And then who else? Marcus Williams. Oh, and then Ben Wickery.
The guy that let up 500 yards to Julio Jones.
That's what's funny. When we were talking about the Packers, just looking at that Bryce guy, I always just, like, you always see these random, like, when these random players that, like, had to start in a playoff game and they just get lit up and then you just never hear them again. They never even play again.
Yeah. So the Arizona Cardinals, A for AC and A- for myself. I think they destroyed the Seahawks in this draft. So if you're a Cardinals fan, I think you're happy about that. Plus, you have a franchise quarterback coming, and you potentially have a franchise receiver and center as well. So it's going to be interesting for the Cardinals in the next couple of years to see how these players develop.